Emma Ridderstad is the founder and CEO of Warpin Reality, a company based in Sweden, which specializes in augmented reality and virtual reality, and the metaverse, which is why I approached her. I saw a wonderful article from tech guru Bernard Marr in which she was talking about the work that Emma's company was doing in the metaverse and how that was translating into what businesses should be using it for. And I felt that it was one of those topics that wasn't really focused on the practical, like a lot of our sessions are, but more about the wider use of technology within the business world. And certainly to me, the metaverse is one of those terms that I had seen and I had read about, but I didn't really understand. So I was so delighted when Emma agreed that she was going to put together this short session for us in order to explain in more detail exactly what it is that the metaverse is likely to do for you moving forwards. So will you please join me in welcoming Emma Ridderstad.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Emma Ridderstad. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Warpin Reality. We are an immersive tech studio with focus on return on investment on these technologies today. And I will take you on a short journey on what the metaverse and all of these technologies will have an impact on us going forward, but also how we can use these technologies now to get return on investment. So, first of all, what is the metaverse? Well, depending on who you're asking, you will get different answers. But what we can say is that it will probably take about 5 to 8 years before we will see this extended version of the internet. So, basically, what we like to say is that the metaverse is basically the next evolution of the internet. So everything that we do today in 2D, we will be able to do in 3D. And we will experience these technologies through virtual and augmented reality. And when people are talking about NFTs, social media, gaming, the real benefits for humanity will be in training, education, and communication. And just like the first internet revolutionized these areas, so will the metaverse. But what's happening right now? Well, we're seeing a lot of different embryos to these metaverses. I don't think that anyone missed that Facebook changed its name to Meta. We have other types of metaverses like Horizon and Sandbox. And what we're doing now is that big companies are entering these spaces for two reasons. Of course, for PR and to see how they can work with these new technologies, but also to see how people will interact in this new setting. And we are just in the beginning of these new types. What we can see is during the pandemic, these behaviors like Roblox and Fortnite, they really solidified their behavior, becoming more of a core memory in the next generation and how we interact with other people. But it is in the beginning. And if you're entering this space, what you have to realize is that the majority of people who are in there are very young people. So you need to know what you're doing. But what I said before is that what we're really seeing the greatest benefits, like with all evolution of the internet. So the first evolution of the internet revolutionized the way that we communicate and we work and we speak with each other. So this has the same benefits. So as I said before, where we're really seeing the big benefits is where you can actually work and collaborate through these different technologies. I don't know about you, but I'm very, very, after 2 years, tired of sitting in these types of meetings where you're talking into a black screen or you're basically having this very, very boring 2D conversation. Instead, you can enter right now with your avatar and meet people and communicate. And I have been in very many different panels, and I've been working in many different scenarios like this. And it's amazing how well you actually know the people that you meet there when you have interacted, because you're fooling your brain that you're actually there. So companies are really, really enabling these new ways of working. And what we have to start with to say is that there are many different technologies that are powering the metaverse. If we look at blockchain and cryptocurrency, that will enable us to have more transparency, and we will be able to see much more of a product that we want. And 3D rendering is putting that extra layer on top of everything. Artificial intelligence is a whole own topic that we can talk about, but what we can know is that it will definitely revolutionize the majority of the things that we are working with and talking to. And also Internet of Things, it's the mixture of the digital and the physical. And of course, as we said before, virtual and augmented reality will be the two new medias where we will experience this. And of course, we need also to have 5G to be able to don't have boring or lagging experiences. And when we're talking about 5G, what I think is also very interesting is 6G, where we will have the internet of the senses, where we can add both taste and smell. But we're not really there yet. But what we can say is that when we're looking at all of these technologies, never before in our history has so many new technologies being developed at the same time, reaching maturity. And it's very interesting if we look at the different topics one by one. But what becomes even more interesting is when we can start to combine these different technologies. That's where we're going to see the real benefits for both companies and for us as private persons. And as we said, if we're looking at all the different technologies that are driving the metaverse right now, where we really see the greatest benefits is in onboarding and training, where you can really use these technologies in whole new ways. So by the year 2025, 50% of everyone who works will need reskilling or upskilling due to the speed of the technology, but the methods that we're using are pretty boring, costly, and very inefficient. And as I said before, having to sit in these types of meeting where you're talking into a black hole or meeting people like this is not a really good way of doing business, but also connecting with each other. So companies that really invest in this technology now will have crucial benefits going forward. And if we're looking at how we can use these technologies, training in virtual reality gives you 275% more confidence in what you experience. And imagine if you are going to operate on a person, or you're going to do a procedure or something, if you can practice and train in an environment that feels like this environment, but also practice over and over again and try to do these difficult things, of course you will be much more confident when doing it. You train also 4 times faster than any other training method that's out there. And one of the biggest reasons why that is because you're not having any other distractions. You're 100% focused in what you want to learn. And you're also 3.75 times more emotional connected to the content that you are experiencing, making this an excellent tool for example, showing off the CSR work that the company is doing, or to raise empathy in different ways. But one of the greatest benefits is, of course, that you can save up to 80% of your cost by using virtual reality as a training method. And I'm going to give you some examples on how clients have used virtual reality in their own companies, but also hopefully give you some ideas on how you can use them. So, for example, a Swedish municipality called PTO, it can take up to 5 years to get the sufficient displacement technique training. So, lifting elderly people, you need to take 3 people out of work to practice these procedures. Instead, what PTO did was that they built a simulator where you can actually train this technique wherever you are and whenever you are, reducing work-related injuries with up to 45%. So virtual reality gives you an excellent way of training muscle memory. So you can basically train in different scenarios, making you ready to perform them when you need them much, much more faster. Another company that has been using these technology is the Swedish Postal Service. They started by doing a vehicle control in virtual reality for not destroying vehicles when they were out training. They had to do this vehicle control before, making sure that the vehicle is working and so forth. That was so successful that they then went on to doing cognitive training and leadership skills training. And they have over 90% cost reduction of their training. And now, since they have implemented these types of communication tools within their company, not only are they learning from an inside-out perspective, where you can basically learn how to use these technologies that will build the next communication tools for everyone, but what you're also having is the way that people can connect with each other, regardless of what happens around the world. So, for example, if we're facing another lockdown or another pandemic, who will be the company that stands there? Well, I think that the companies will be that are able to communicate and keep on working regardless. Another case and another good way of using these technologies when you're doing something remotely, for example. So a Swedish startup called Kry, who makes doctor appointment more digital, they sent home a headset to people that have social phobia in their own homes. And from another side, there was a psychologist that could then help the person go through different types of scenarios, but from the safety of their home. So this is just the beginning of therapy, but we have seen many excellent user cases within therapy and within where you have to kind of maybe meet someone, but you're far away. And another type of using is collaboration, right? So this is the fire department in Sweden called Uppsala, and they wanted to train in big buildings if there becomes a fire. So one trainer can have an iPad and manage the whole fire, and the other teams have to collaborate, saving lives, being able to really practice these kind of hard scenarios and very costly scenarios. And as I said before, what we are seeing now is an explosion of new technologies that will impact us in ways that we have only started to touch upon. Right now, for example, there's actually no automotive car producer that don't have virtual reality as their tool in their design process. And the reason why they're having it is, of course, that they're saving a lot of money, but they're also able to communicate and collaborate in whole new ways. So what does that mean? Well, you have to think about your own industry. Where can these different technologies really help your own processes? Where can these technologies really help your team move faster than any other team, for example? Virtual showrooms are not only for clothing or retail. Virtual showrooms are for factories and big companies with a lot of big different types of products that may be hard to showcase. And also digital twins, where you are able to connect data and see how things will influence each other, but being able to do so in a blink of an eye. And also meetings in VR and the digital space. All of this will be new things that we have just started to work with. I would like to just end this presentation with a couple of thoughts. These changes are so big that 60% of everyone who goes to primary school today will have jobs that we don't know what they are. And if we want to cultivate what really makes us human, which is empathy and creativity, then there is no better tool than virtual reality. So my advice to everyone is not to look at all of these technologies as a big black wall coming against you, but look at them separately, see what they can do together, and learn from an inside-out perspective. These technologies have really an opportunity to help us with so many problems that we're facing. So we need to be mindful and know what we're building and take it from there. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to stay in contact. Goodbye.